relativity, we can say it's a dream, and it's not Jim's dream or Fred's dream. The fact that there's a Jim and a Fred, that's a dream, and that dream is being had by divinity. So within the dream, these things appear to have free will. We experience free will, or we experience the results of what we believe to be free will. So we have the experience of free will, but that doesn't mean it's true. The reason I say that with great conviction is that relativity itself is a dream. So if you like dream tonight that that you're in a race car and it goes and it has a big wreck on the track, when the unit wakes up, it's not going to be at Indianapolis, right? It's going to be right in your bed. So there may be sweating, there may be fear, there might be anything. So there will be a response from the body. And the body also, like with holding the thing over the fire, you'll be able to hold your hand over the stove for exactly as long as that conditioning allows it. But the conditioning ultimately will take over and come back. You don't have to make a decision to come back. You can make what feels like a decision and come back earlier than you were thinking, and you think you changed your mind, but in fact, you didn't change anything. What happened was that the conditioning of the body had just had enough. Okay, this hurts. This is fearful. It's gonna really hurt us. So in the face of that kind of danger, the body will do what it does, and there's no shame in that. I mean, if I'm at a zoo and I see a Zen master fall in with a tiger, and he goes resolutely forward and touches the tiger on the brow, and there's a big stroke from the sun or something, that's fine. But I think likely what I'm going to see is a Zen master getting his ass out of that pen just as fast as he can, because there's going to be a fear response by the body, by the physical body. By the DNA is not built to allow tigers to eat it. I mean, that's just not. That's not the programming. So fear is not a weakness. It's an alarm, and it's good to have. Otherwise, what might be doing stuff that threatened our lives all the time, and sooner or later we're probably going to lose. The confusion comes from the fact that intellectually we know that there's no one here, even though we're experiencing what feels like a resident of the body. When we look for it, we can't find it. It's just not there. And we can look in the body, we can look out of the body, we can look anywhere we want, but we're not going to find a separate Fred. There just isn't one. And we're not going to find a Fred, but period. What we're going to find is we're going to find awakeness in unlimited shapes, colors, forms. This whole thing is awakeness itself. You could say, just for the sake of saying it, because it might be helpful, that what we can actually find is space. There is spaciousness. What that means? It means there's spaciousness. It doesn't mean that there's space in between two other things. There's spaciousness all by itself, but that doesn't make it aware of itself. It doesn't make it conscious, because when there's just space, I'm going to suggest there's nothing to experience. There has to be something within that space that is recognized. And I know we hear about the space recognizing itself, and I've had that. I've had things that would fit that description happen here, but I don't think that there was absolutely no personality here at that moment. I think there was a very slight sense of Fredness that got overridden, but I don't think I don't see how consciousness is needed in order to experience. And in the face of simple space, that doesn't make it conscious. Consciousness doesn't arrive, so far as we as humans can tell, until there is a unit which can be inhabited by consciousness. And then the unit will at some point get really arrogant and think that I've got consciousness. But the truth is the unit itself is consciousness. And because there's not anything other than consciousness within what we could call manifestation, consciousness, God, I am, all of these things that in my language, they're synonyms. What you really are is what's prior to all of that. And we can't, we love to try to talk about it, but we can't actually talk about it. It's unspeakable because it is not conceptual, and language is conceptual. So you can't, it's impossibility to get that out of this and to get it into the ears. It's grokked. It is in the sense that it's just understood at a very deep level, but it's not from having somebody tell you that, and it's not from reading a book about that. It's just something that happens. It's like putting a sponge in water, and the sponge will suck up the water until it has its capacity. If you put it in a little bit of water, it's going to hold it all and have more ready to go. If you put it in a bathtub, it's not going to be able to absorb all that water. But the unit will not be able to absorb itself, the consciousness cannot understand that which is prior to it. So that remains the mystery. That is the mystery. The rest of this is still mysterious, but it's not, in my mind, quite the mystery that is, because we can talk about the rest of this. And there is a free will experience within relativity. We experience it. Is it true or not? Well, relativity itself is not true, but that doesn't really help us out a lot. That may be satisfying intellectually or not, but it's not really satisfying the itches that we have as seekers. So consciousness itself, and I'm just not like I have seen this exactly. I've sort of seen it, but but more in like a vision or a hallucination or whatever you want to call it, or a dream, whatever, is that there is no thing which is unimaginable. And then somehow a unit manifests within this no thing. And this no thing that does not know itself, there's no consciousness there, does not know itself, and does not know that it exists. That's the reason that when it gets the opportunity to inhabit a unit, if it's a human unit, it will later on in its life be able to say, I am, because it will not be, it will not just be a sharing, it will be a discovery. I am is more like, oh my God, I am, right? I am, I did not know that I am. And you think that it would say, I did not know that I was, but it doesn't work like that. It's really just, I did not know I am, but I have always been. So therein is, that goes hand in glove with the mystery. But there will be the experience of free will. So when we recognize from the absolute plane, we recognize from the absolute plane that there simply cannot be any free will here, because there's no one to have it and no one to not have it. then you can realize that what's happening is all of it is like a reflection in a still pond, right, or a still pool. There's a reflection, and everything, and all these reflections are happening, and it's just amazing, and hold your breath and laugh and cry and do all this, but there's not really anything happening. It's all reflections on the top of the pond. There's no depth to it. There's no, we could say there's no truth to it, but relativity for us as human beings in this room, relativity is as real as anything else, which is another way of saying nothing's real, but relativity is as real as anything else, which means that you can deny free will, but there's the one that's denying it doesn't actually exist. So even the denial of free will is a clamoring for I am. Yeah. So recognizing that if you say, yes, I have free will, you're saying that there's a being there. And if you say, I don't have free will, you're still saying there's a being there. And that's fundamentally wrong. That's the big drawing point, is recognizing that you cannot fundamentally say, I have free will or I don't have free will, because that's coming from an imaginary character. It's not coming, it's not coming from the lips of God to the ears of the angel or anything like that. It is, now this, everything here in this relativity, everything counts. And there is some of it that's very, very important. And there's some of it that's very weighty, and there's things that need to be done. There's skillful things, there are unskillful things. All of it counts, and none of it matters. None of it matters. And what do I mean by none of it matters? I just mean that in the end, if you have a reflection on a pond, when you go up and you look down, you see your own reflection. So are you in the water? Have you added volume to the water? Have you added, weight or anything else with the water? No. It's what is it? It's a reflection. And what these things are is they're reflections that are trying to decide whether we believe in the sun or not, or shadows that are saying, I'm not sure I believe in the sun. In other words, the reflections cannot have any kinds of opinions. They don't exist. They're reflections. They appear. And here we have the world of appearances, but that's way long way from a world of genuine truth. Truth is relative truth. Here it is. This is it. Manifestation. There's nothing like this. There's no comparison. There's no alternative. There is no obvious purpose. There's no obvious point. The point is the knowledge itself is the point. In the same way, what is the point of Beethoven's Fifth, right? What's the point of that? Well, there's not really a point to it. We just like it a lot. And well, that's a point. That's as good a point as any. Or, maybe some of the musicians just like the exercise. That's fine too. Whatever it is, there's not a world compelling happening. It's just happening. And the thing that wants to know, but my God, are you telling me I don't have any life purpose? I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying there's no you. That's quite different. So, and for the appearance's sake, you do have a life purpose. It's to be right here in this room, right here, right now, listening to this. How do we know? This is where we are. If there's no alternative, if there and there is no comparison, then this is it. Well, it doesn't make sense to me. The one who's saying it doesn't make sense to me, that's a make-believe character. It's not a true, it's not a person. It is a bunch of patterns that work synthetically.